Gloves.
That's Han Ji-eun.
Ready, go!
That's Li Kai Wen. And Wang Yawei is in the white trunks. This fight brought to you by Naga World, the best integrated business, leisure, and entertainment hub in Cambodia. This is the final of the one-night featherweight tournament here in Beijing, China.
A lot on the line right now. You can tell they're filling each other out. And Wang is actually standing in the southpaw position, which may pose a little bit of a threat for Li. It's a little awkward. It's just it's stylistically it changes. See, this is what we were talking about, where fighters can't prepare just for one thing. In the semifinals, he fought someone who was orthodox, you know, in the way they stand. Now he's fighting someone who's a southpaw. Generally, when you fight a good wrestler, they usually shoot with their right leg forward. So that's why they try fighting that way, with their right leg forward, which makes them a southpaw.
Wang is tall as well, which makes it even more complex for Li approaching this one. It's going to be difficult getting inside those long levers of his.
They both got to be careful. It's only a 2-round fight, and referee Yuji Yamada has already given him 2 warnings now for fighting.
1 minute gone and nothing thrown or landed yet.
You may potentially see referee Yuji Yamada stop them and tell them to get after it.
This is a final. That's what he said to them when they came together in the middle of the ring. Didn't want them to forget that. Left hand from Wang, glancing the top of Li's head.
Li looks a lot smaller than Wang, to be honest. He needs to be looking to use his speed, not stand directly in front of him to avoid the takedown. Looks like Wang.
More action, Yuji says, as we thought he might do. I think some of the reason for this is that they were both impressive in the semi-finals, and when this ends, it could end explosively. And I think both guys are understanding of that, and therefore not wanting to throw themselves into the action without due caution.
There's so much at stake here for both of them. Nice work from Li there. Rich, to walk us through what Yuji just did, though. He stopped him, told him to fight, give action.
Yeah, both of the fighters were actually warned.
Got down left hand and followed up by a right. And Wang is under some pressure here. He was up against the cage. He's covering up, but he's taking some abuse. Gets hold of Li's legs.
Li defending the takedown beautifully. Landing some big strikes here. He's got to be careful, though. Nice knee to the face.
Left and right's coming in. Wang is in trouble, moving away, out of range as quickly as he can, covering up still. Takes a good left hand, right hand as well, solidly on the chin. It's busy, busy stuff from Li Kai Wen.
He just took a big overhand right, though, in the exchange. Li did.
And Li's gassed, and who can blame him? He's been throwing punches at top speed for the last 50 seconds.
Li needs to circle off the fence here.
He might have just overblown it, Li.
They both look exhausted.
Yeah, they do. For a minute there, I was thinking if one could catch Li, he really had a good chance to turn things around, because he looked exhausted for a moment.
Now this is where Wang has actually worked on his wrestling significantly for this tournament. Li, will he be able to stop the takedown, though, now that he's exhausted? He looked good a second ago in one of the exchanges when Wang tried to take him down against the fence, and he was able to circle off. He actually, real good takedown defense on pushing the head away from his hips.
Yuji Shimada called for action, and he certainly got it. 1:15 to go in this opening round. It's a 2-round contest.
Okay. Time's up.
Looks like he caught him with a poke in the eye, reaching out, trying to push him away. It's common, it happens all the time in MMA. The open-fingered gloves, it's a mistake, it happens. Give him a little bit of time to recover.
5 minutes again, Rich, is that how it works?
Yeah, this incidental eye contact here, this, like Josh said, this happens all the time. It's not like boxing. You don't have a closed fist glove where your fingers are enclosed, so you can get caught with a finger. You can also get caught with the corner of the glove there, and so he'll get the 5 minutes for this entire duration of the round to recover. I've been here before. One problem that he could have here is that if his vision is blurred the remainder of this fight, he can have no depth perception, which makes it very difficult to continue striking.
He's got to be real careful what he tells the doctor right now, Rich. The doctor's going to come in and ask him, can you see? Every fighter needs to be coached into telling them that,
what
yes, I can
happens here-
see. Just give me 1 second.
What happens here if the referee stops it at this point because of an accidental finger in the eye? What happens?
At this point, because we're still in the first round and we haven't established one full round, this will be judged a no contest.
If it was in the second round?
Then you go to the judges' scorecards.
Okay. So we know where we are now. Let's hope it doesn't get stopped now and there's a no contest on our hands. You talked about it happening a lot in mixed martial arts and not in boxing. Of course, you can get a thumb in the eye with the boxing glove, but that is not nearly as damaging as a finger in the eye here with these fingerless gloves. That can be really quite a significant injury.
This might have been what we needed though to get a little bit more action to finish it. They both were exhausted and now they're both recovered and ready to go.
It's not what we'd want by design, but by accident, yeah, it may well turn out that way. Let's see. 1 minute left then in this opening round after that brief stoppage.
Both of them in the filling out process again. Both are recovered. Both look like they're fresh again. Let's see if Wong looks to press him against the fence or close the distance. It looks like he's trying to punch into a good takedown. He's just hesitating. I think the speed of Li is kind of throwing him off. Nice little right hand.
Left hand from Wong. From that southpaw position, so it comes back from further and has more power theoretically.
Action!
Yuji Shimada calling for action again.
Wong needs to try and steal this round back. You know, he's obviously behind, I believe, in this round, but in the last 15 seconds, he could still potentially win this round by getting a near KO or... Ooh, spinning back is just missed.
What an enthralling round that was. As I figured it might be, actually. Let's just go to Rich, figure out how he saw that round, because again, not such an easy one to score, although probably Li with the early advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Yuji called for the action. Things turned around right away. Li came in. After that, I scored him on aggression, which is our lowest on the scoring chart. Striking superiority because he just continued. He almost punched himself out because he was striking so effectively, but then he also landed the near KO. He's the only person that I really have scored anything on my sheet so far. So if the fight ended now, Li would definitely be the one that walked away with the victory.
So, of course, we don't score these fights round by round. It's not a question of one round to Li. We look at the fight in its entirety, but Wang has 5 whole minutes to try and get himself the upper hand as they apply that iron to his left eye just to reduce a little bit of swelling. This final 5 minutes to determine the one-night tournament winner in the featherweight division. And it's more than just that. The winner here propels himself into the featherweight rankings with a prospect somewhere down the line, if you keep winning, of a title shot somewhere in one of the fabulous Asian venues that One Fighting Championship finds itself in during the course of any 1 year. Final round then. Wang in the white trunks, Li in the black.
Wong needs to really look to step up and push the pace in this round.
Left hand from Wang, it was a good one.
I'd like to see Li throw a little bit more of the combinations, use his speed more.
Well, it's Wang that's pursuing, isn't it?
He was pursuing in the first round as well, and he got clipped with a big punch.
Takes some skill to fight going backwards.
There it is
but
again.
As you can see, Li does that exceptionally well.
When Li throws in combinations, he lands. When he throws in ones and twos, it doesn't land, and he actually gets pushed back even further. So I'd like to see Li use his speed, throw 3s and 4-punch combinations, get in and get out.
That's a good spot. He's got great balance when he throws 2, 3, and 4-punch combinations. Good left hand from Li.
Action!
Looks like Wong's trying to get him to where Li's back is to the fence so he can shoot. He's going to punch. But he's smart. He keeps circling off, making sure that his back never really touches the fence. These look like his arms are getting a little bit tired. He might have punched himself out a little bit in that first round.
Action!
In situations like that, fighters need to learn. They got a nice knee there. Fighters need to learn. They need to pick and choose their shots. Li went overboard, and he's just throwing kind of a little bit of reckless abandonment, and it kind of started costing him. And it shows right now he's not able to throw big punches.
Right jab from Wang.
if the referee Yuji Shimada gives them another warning, you could potentially see a yellow card being pulled out. Rich, why don't you walk us through what the yellow card is and tell us why and who do you think would potentially get one?
Yeah, well, in this case, Yuji might actually award a yellow card to both of these guys. You just heard him again, action. This is probably the 4th or 5th time I've heard him say action in this round. He said it several times in the first round. He stopped them in the first round, and it'll get to the point where he pulls out a yellow card. In this case, it could possibly be both of them, in which case it's going to basically end in a 10% deduction of their purses.
This is not a 12 rounds of 3 minutes contest as it would be in a boxing match. This is 2 5-minute rounds, so the action has to be intense. Yuji has to ask them to get stuck in. They can't just posture in front of each other.
Are you giving Wong the point for aggression right now?
If he continues moving forward like this, I might tick him on aggression, but the aggression typically has to lead.
Big right hand again from Lee.
Who's doing the better work despite the fact that Wong is coming forward. Those hands are cultured. And they're quick.
When you run into those younger fighters, they don't know what it's like, I think, to be pushed or tested yet. And sometimes they don't care. And it seems like Lee right now just doesn't care. He's throwing clean, good combinations. When he's landing, he's pushing the pace back at him.
And he's 19 years old, Josh.
I'm so excited to see him perform the way he is right now. All these tournament fighters I was talking to them, they were all extremely nervous. You know, on the big stage, they've never experienced anything like this. And this is their opportunity to seize the moment. And both of these guys right now are performing really well. I'm actually very impressed.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the featherweight division. And Lee looks as if he could take things to another level with a little bit more age and experience. But so far, the exuberance of youth is standing him in very good stead. And Wong's punches are off target and looking quite a bit slower than they were in the opening minutes of this round and in the first round. Lee is finding the edge. He's in charge.
Rich, what does Wong need to do to win this fight in the last minute of this fight?
He's going to have to finish the fight. I think at this point, even if he had a near submission or near KO, which is the highest category on our judging criteria, it wouldn't be enough for him to actually take the victory at this point in time. Lee has just amounted too much on the other judging criteria.
Nice takedown defense from Lee.
Was looking for something devastating, I think, Wong there. Perhaps the ground kick to the head, which potentially could finish a fight in that one movement. It's that kind of move that Wong needs, because Lee, in this final 30 seconds, has built up quite a lead, we think, here at Cageside. He's shown a great deal of promise at only 19 years old. A win here would move his record to 3-1. It would give him a shining new trophy, but more importantly, surely, it puts him on a big stage in ONE FC's featherweight division.
I'm so impressed with Lee, honestly. You see somebody at the weigh-ins, you meet them earlier in the week, and you hope the best for him. He came out here and he fought 2 fights tonight, performed greatly. This is unbelievable. I'm excited for him. I think for ONE FC, they have a new star.
The accuracy of those punches while moving backwards a lot of the time is something you rarely see. Busile Colosa springs to mind. Li Kai Wen is another fighter who springs to mind now.
You brought up the fact that he was moving backwards, but he's fighting someone who won his first fight by wrestling, and that's the reason why I don't look at it as a negative, because he landed the better and cleaner shots. He was being smart about his tournament win and his finals fight.
Anthony Sutai with the official decision then.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. And all 3 judges see it for your winner by unanimous decision. And now the champion of the Beijing Featherweight Tournament, from the blue corner, Li Kai Wen!